Africa is sitting on a treasure nobody can ignore. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that beneath your feet lies something worth billions of dollars, not buried in a bank vault, not locked inside a skyscraper, but underneath the ground. Now imagine that this isn't happening in one small country. It is happening across an entire continent. Gold, diamonds, copper, cobalt, lithium, platinum, uranium, natural gas, oil, rare earth minerals. Africa is home to an extraordinary concentration of the resources the modern world depends on. And yet, here's the strange part. A continent with so much natural wealth is still home to some of the world's poorest countries. So what is really happening? Why is the world racing to secure African resources? And could Africa's underground treasure become the foundation of a new economic era? Today, we're going beneath the surface of Africa to uncover a treasure that the world simply cannot ignore. Chapter 1. The treasure under our feet. Think about your smartphone. The screen you're watching this video on might contain minerals that originated thousands of kilometers away. Your car contains copper. An electric vehicle can require significant quantities of minerals such as lithium, nickel, manganese, and cobalt. The electrical grid needs enormous amounts of copper and other materials. Even renewable energy technologies depend on minerals extracted from the earth. In other words, the modern world is built on rocks, and Africa has many of the rocks the future needs. The continent contains some of the world's most important deposits of gold, platinum group metals, cobalt, copper, diamonds, uranium, manganese, bauxite, and other strategic minerals. But Africa's resource story isn't simply about how much is underground. It is about what those resources could mean in the future. Because the global economy is changing. The world is moving toward electric vehicles, renewable energy, batteries, data centers, and increasingly sophisticated technology. And all of these things require raw materials. That is why Africa's mineral wealth is becoming more important, not less. Chapter 2. The Battery Treasure. Now let's travel to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The DRC doesn't just have enormous mineral wealth. It sits at the center of one of the most important supply chains of the modern economy: cobalt. Cobalt is used in many rechargeable battery technologies, although battery chemistry is changing and manufacturers are working to reduce their dependence on it. The DRC has historically been by far the world's largest source of mined cobalt. Think about that for a moment. The device you're using to watch this video, the electric vehicles being developed around the world, and the giant battery systems being built to store electricity all depend on technologies that require minerals. And some of those minerals come from Africa. But here's where the story becomes complicated. Mining wealth doesn't automatically become national wealth. Imagine finding a mountain of gold in your backyard. Finding it is one thing. Turning that gold into lasting prosperity is another. You need roads. You need electricity. You need skilled workers. You need factories. You need financing. You need good institutions. And most importantly, you need the ability to turn raw materials into higher value products. That is where Africa faces one of its biggest challenges. Chapter 3. Africa sells the ingredients. Imagine Africa as a farmer growing the world's most valuable coffee beans. A buyer arrives and purchases the beans cheaply. Then someone else takes those beans, roasts them, packages them, creates a global brand, and sells the final product for many times more. Who makes the bigger profit? Usually the person selling the finished product. This is one of the biggest questions surrounding Africa's natural resources. For decades, many African economies have depended heavily on exporting raw commodities. Ore leaves the country. Crude oil leaves the country. Cocoa leaves the country. Gold leaves the country. Then much of the processing, manufacturing, and branding happens somewhere else. The result? Africa may possess the resource, but someone else can capture a large portion of the value created from it. And this is why the next chapter of Africa's resource story isn't simply about mining more. It's about processing more. Chapter 4. The Golden Continent. Africa's relationship with gold goes back thousands of years. Long before modern mining companies, West African kingdoms became wealthy through gold. The name Gold Coast itself became associated with what is now Ghana. Today, countries including Ghana, South Africa, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Tanzania remain important gold producers. But gold is only one piece of the puzzle. South Africa is famous for gold, but its mineral wealth extends far beyond it. The country has enormous deposits of platinum group metals, manganese, chromium, and other minerals. Platinum is especially important because of its industrial applications, including catalysts and technologies connected to hydrogen and clean energy. And this creates an interesting possibility. Africa doesn't necessarily have to choose between being a mining continent and becoming a technology continent. Its mineral resources could become the bridge between the two. Chapter 5. The Lithium Race. Now there's another mineral attracting enormous attention: lithium. Lithium is a key component in many rechargeable batteries, and as electric vehicles expand, battery storage grows and countries compete for supply chains. Demand for lithium has become strategically important. Several African countries have significant lithium resources, including Zimbabwe and Namibia, while exploration is expanding across the continent. Imagine the global automotive industry slowly replacing gasoline-powered vehicles with electric ones. Millions of cars need batteries, factories need battery materials, battery manufacturers need reliable supplies, and suddenly, a mineral that most people had barely heard about becomes strategically important. That's the pattern we're seeing across Africa. A mineral that looked ordinary yesterday can become extremely valuable tomorrow. Chapter 6. Copper, the metal of electricity. Now look at Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Together, they sit within one of the world's most important copper-producing regions. And copper may be one of the least glamorous but most important metals on Earth. Why? Because electricity needs copper. Power lines use it. Electric motors use it. Buildings use it. Renewable energy systems use it. Electric vehicles use substantially more copper than conventional cars. And data centers, which power the artificial intelligence revolution, require enormous amounts of electricity and electrical infrastructure. So when you hear about AI, electric vehicles, and renewable energy, remember this: behind the futuristic technology is a very old material, copper, and Africa has a lot of it. Chapter 7. The Resource. Most people forget. But here's something that often gets lost in conversations about Africa. Africa's wealth isn't only underground. Look above the ground. The continent has enormous agricultural potential. It has vast forests. It has major rivers. It has extraordinary solar resources. It has wind corridors. It has geothermal potential. It has enormous coastlines and fisheries. And it has a young population that could become one of the world's largest labor and consumer markets. This means Africa's greatest resource may not be a single mineral. It may be the combination of land, resources, people, and energy. Put those together with infrastructure, education, and industrialization, and the possibilities become enormous.